Across America, a scene is quietly repeating itself. A late-model electric vehicle sits in a driveway while a flatbed truck loads it up. The owner isn't watching because the car broke down. The tires still have plenty of life left, the paint still shines. Nothing appears obviously wrong. Yet the vehicle is leaving anyway, and the person standing nearby often wears the same expression of disbelief. Many people assume stories like these are simple returns. They are not. Cars are not sweaters that can be handed back after buyer's remorse. What is actually happening is much more serious. Some owners are surrendering the vehicle because they cannot escape the loan attached to it. Others are trading it in while carrying thousands of dollars of debt that refuses to disappear. The vehicle changes hands, but the financial burden follows the owner. That hidden reality explains why so many electric vehicle owners are discovering that the most expensive part of ownership was never the battery or the charging. It was the financing agreement they signed years earlier. Even more alarming, more than half of financed EV owners now owe more than their vehicle is worth. That single statistic tells a much bigger story, because it reveals a flaw created by the collision of rapid depreciation, long loan terms, aggressive pricing, and a market changing faster than many buyers ever imagined. To understand how this happens, picture two invisible lines racing each other from the day you buy a car. The first line represents the vehicle's value. It starts high, then immediately begins falling. The second line represents your loan balance. That one also declines, but much more slowly. When the loan stays above the vehicle's value, you have negative equity. The financial industry uses that phrase constantly, but the meaning is surprisingly simple. You owe more money than the car could sell for today. That gap appears because depreciation moves much faster than loan repayment, especially during the first years of financing. Early monthly payments mainly cover interest rather than principal, meaning very little of your debt actually disappears. Years ago, this problem was less common because shorter 36-month loans reduced principal quickly enough to keep pace with depreciation. Modern financing changed the equation. Loans stretched to 6 years, and even 7 years became common because they lowered the monthly payment enough to make increasingly expensive vehicles seem affordable. The payment looked manageable, but the debt stayed alive much longer, allowing depreciation to pull far ahead. Electric vehicles magnify this problem because they generally lose value faster than conventional vehicles. A typical new vehicle may lose roughly 45% of its value over 5 years. Many electric vehicles average closer to 58% during that same period, while some individual models perform even worse. The steepest decline often happens immediately. During the first year alone, many EVs lose between 35 and 40% of their original value. Imagine paying $55,000 for a vehicle that is suddenly worth around $35,000 only 12 months later. Meanwhile, your loan balance has barely moved because interest consumed most of your payments. The result is not a small financial inconvenience. It can become a 5-figure hole after only 1 year of perfectly normal ownership. Nothing had to break. No accident had to happen. The owner simply experienced the mathematics built into the purchase. Technology makes depreciation even more severe. Electric vehicles improve rapidly from one generation to the next. Newer models often arrive with longer driving range, faster charging, improved software, and additional features. A 3-year-old EV can suddenly feel outdated in the same way an older smartphone quickly loses appeal when a faster version appears. Buyers naturally compare used models against new technology, pushing resale prices downward. At the same time, manufacturers repeatedly reduce prices on brand new vehicles to remain competitive. Every price cut instantly affects owners who already purchased at higher prices because used values adjust downward as well. Imagine buying a model at full price only to watch the manufacturer reduce the sticker by several $1,000s a few months later. Overnight, your vehicle becomes less valuable even though nothing changed about the car sitting in your garage. The manufacturer protects market share while existing owners absorb the financial damage. Battery uncertainty creates another powerful force. Every used EV shopper eventually asks the same question: how healthy is the battery? Even when a battery functions perfectly, uncertainty alone reduces confidence. Potential buyers know the battery pack represents the most expensive component in the entire vehicle. Replacing one can cost enormous amounts of money, sometimes enough to make repair economically unrealistic. Because buyers cannot always measure battery health with complete certainty, they negotiate aggressively. Sellers often receive offers well below expectations simply because future battery performance remains unknown. Fear becomes part of the pricing formula. Every headline involving battery recalls, fire investigations, or manufacturer buyback programs reinforces that hesitation. Even owners with completely reliable vehicles pay the price because nervous buyers lower offers across the entire used market. Another wave has quietly arrived through leasing. During the rapid expansion of electric vehicle sales, many consumers chose leases instead of purchases. Leasing shielded drivers from depreciation because the manufacturer accepted much of that risk. Now those 3-year lease agreements are ending in large numbers. Thousands of relatively low-mileage EVs are returning to the used market almost simultaneously. Greater supply naturally pressures prices downward. More available inventory means buyers gain negotiating power while sellers lose it. Owners financing similar vehicles watch resale values decline again without making a single mistake. The market simply contains more cars than buyers willing to pay premium prices. Increased supply combines with rapid technological change and battery uncertainty to create one of the most difficult resale environments the automotive industry has seen. The numbers become even more striking when viewed together. Roughly 54% of financed electric vehicle owners are underwater on their loans, compared with approximately 31% across the overall vehicle market. That means EV owners experience negative equity at nearly double the rate of everyone else. This is not a small statistical difference. It represents the weakest financing position in today's automotive landscape. Consider a realistic purchase. Someone buys a $55,000 electric vehicle, puts $2,000 down, and finances the remaining balance across 72 months. After 1 year, depreciation leaves the vehicle worth around $35,000, while the loan still sits near $47,000. The owner now owes roughly $12,000 more than the vehicle could reasonably sell for. After another year, the vehicle may be worth only $28,000, while the loan remains near $41,000. Instead of improving, the gap widens to around $13,000. That owner has done nothing irresponsible. Payments were made, maintenance happened. The vehicle simply depreciated faster than the debt disappeared. Many people discover this reality only when they decide to replace the vehicle. Perhaps their financial situation changed, perhaps charging costs proved higher than expected. Maybe they simply want something different. They visit a dealership expecting to trade in their current vehicle and immediately encounter an unpleasant surprise. The salesperson explains that the trade value falls thousands of dollars below the remaining loan balance. Suddenly the customer is not exchanging one vehicle for another. They are trying to transfer debt. At that point, only 3 difficult choices remain. The first is paying the difference out of pocket, often requiring several $1,000s many households simply do not have. The second involves rolling the unpaid balance into the next loan. That option feels easier because no large check must be written immediately, yet it quietly carries yesterday's debt into tomorrow's purchase. The third option is failing to keep up with payments, eventually risking repossession. None of these outcomes resemble returning a product. They represent different ways of managing financial damage already created. Rolling negative equity into another purchase deserves particular attention because it creates a cycle that becomes increasingly difficult to escape. Imagine carrying $7,000 of unpaid debt into your next vehicle loan. Your new financing now begins thousands of dollars underwater before the replacement vehicle even leaves the dealership. Repeat that process another time and 2 previous loans become attached to the third vehicle. Eventually, someone may owe $70,000 on a vehicle with a sticker price near $50,000. The newest purchase did not create the entire debt. Earlier, negative equity accumulated through repeated refinancing. Every transaction solved today's payment problem while quietly enlarging tomorrow's balance. Dealers complete another sale, lenders issue another loan, and the customer moves further away from financial flexibility. The expiration of the federal tax credit after September 2025 added another layer to the story. For years, qualifying buyers could receive up to $7,500 that effectively reduced the purchase price. Because that benefit often appeared at the point of sale, many shoppers focused on the lower effective cost instead of the full sticker price. Once the credit disappeared, buyers financed much closer to the actual purchase amount. Yet the earlier credit also produced an unexpected consequence. Discounted new vehicles made used models less attractive, placing additional downward pressure on resale values. Owners who purchased during periods of higher pricing suddenly competed against newer vehicles benefiting from incentives and manufacturer discounts. They found themselves squeezed from both directions as new prices declined while used values dropped even faster. Certain premium brands demonstrated how aggressive pricing strategies could erase owner equity almost instantly. When manufacturers repeatedly reduced prices on existing models, current owners saw resale values fall immediately. Nothing about their vehicles changed overnight, yet the market adjusted because identical new models suddenly cost much less. Existing owners effectively absorbed the cost of keeping factories competitive. Those rapid adjustments helped explain why some premium electric brands consistently appeared among the highest rates of underwater loans. the vehicle itself remained capable and enjoyable to drive. The paperwork surrounding ownership became the real source of financial stress. Loan length remains the common thread connecting nearly every case. Data consistently shows that the overwhelming majority of underwater borrowers financed vehicles for 72 months or longer. 7-year loans often produce median negative equity around $8,500. Compare that with much shorter 36-month financing, where owners frequently maintain positive equity instead. The road does not change. The vehicle does not change. The primary difference lies beneath the signature on the finance contract. Longer loans reduce monthly payments enough to encourage purchases, but they extend the period during which interest dominates payments while depreciation races ahead. On rapidly depreciating electric vehicles, that timing becomes especially dangerous. Economic pressure during 2026 makes the situation even more visible. Many vehicles purchased or leased during the electric vehicle boom are now reaching the point where owners naturally consider selling or replacing them. At exactly the same moment, overall negative equity across the automotive market has climbed to its highest level in years. More than 30% of trade-ins now involve underwater loans. Average borrowers carry roughly $7,000 of negative equity into replacement purchases, while many owe well above $10,000. The average age of underwater trade-ins has climbed toward 4 years, showing these are not reckless buyers constantly changing vehicles. They are ordinary households discovering that seemingly reasonable financing never caught up with depreciation. Household budgets add additional pressure. Inflation affects groceries, housing, utilities, insurance, and nearly every recurring expense. When finances tighten, expensive vehicle payments often become difficult to sustain. Owners trapped by negative equity cannot easily sell because sale proceeds would not satisfy the lender. Refinancing becomes difficult because lenders generally hesitate to finance balances significantly above vehicle value. The owner feels trapped between continuing payments they struggle to afford or risking repossession. If payments stop, the lender eventually recovers the vehicle, sells it at auction, and still pursues the borrower for the remaining unpaid balance after sale proceeds are applied. Losing possession of the vehicle does not eliminate the financial obligation. The financing process itself can also deepen the problem. Many shoppers concentrate almost exclusively on monthly payment rather than total cost or loan structure. That focus allows longer loan terms, higher interest rates, mandatory add-ons, and additional fees to become hidden inside seemingly affordable payments. Federal scrutiny of numerous dealership groups highlighted concerns involving advertised prices followed by mandatory extras during final paperwork. Not every dealership engages in questionable practices, but buyers concentrating only on monthly affordability may overlook contract details that substantially increase long-term financial exposure. A slightly lower monthly payment can conceal thousands of additional dollars spread across years of financing. Despite these risks, the story does not end with hopelessness because practical strategies significantly reduce exposure. The first principle is recognizing that loan structure matters as much as vehicle selection. If an electric vehicle requires a 72 or 84-month loan to become affordable, the purchase price may simply exceed the buyer's budget. Shorter financing terms reduce interest costs, accelerate principal repayment, and help debt decline closer to the vehicle's market value. A meaningful down payment creates another layer of protection by reducing the initial loan balance before depreciation begins. Instead of immediately falling underwater after the first major value decline, owners retain a financial cushion. Leasing deserves serious consideration for many EV shoppers because it transfers much of the depreciation risk away from the consumer. When resale values fall faster than expected, the manufacturer, rather than the individual, generally absorbs that loss at lease end. This explains why leasing became so common during the electric vehicle expansion. It was not merely a marketing trend. It reflected recognition that rapid depreciation represented one of the largest ownership risks. Meanwhile, buyers entering the used EV market may actually benefit from earlier depreciation. A carefully inspected 2- or 3-year-old electric vehicle with verified battery health can provide substantial value because someone else already absorbed the steepest decline. Battery condition reports and vehicle history checks become essential tools separating genuine bargains from expensive surprises. Gap insurance offers another valuable safeguard, particularly for buyers making small down payments. Imagine a financed EV is declared a total loss after an accident, while the owner still owes $13,000 more than the insurance company's valuation. Standard auto insurance generally pays market value, not outstanding loan balance. Without gap coverage, the borrower could lose the vehicle while still owing thousands of dollars. Gap insurance exists specifically to cover that difference, preventing an already stressful event from becoming an overwhelming financial burden. Owners already underwater should resist emotional decisions whenever possible. Panic trading often locks negative equity into another loan before sufficient principal has been repaid. If the vehicle remains reliable and payments remain manageable, continuing ownership while making additional principal payments may gradually close the gap. Every extra dollar directed toward principal reduces debt faster than scheduled payments alone. Time eventually allows loan balance and vehicle value to intersect, creating an opportunity to exit ownership under much healthier financial conditions. Ultimately, the biggest lesson has very little to do with electric motors themselves. Most modern EVs deliver impressive performance, quiet operation, and satisfying daily driving. The central problem lies in the interaction between rapid depreciation and financing decisions. A fast-changing technology market, repeated manufacturer price reductions, battery uncertainty, lease returns, and extended loan terms combined into a perfect financial storm. Buyers who focused only on monthly payments often overlooked the long-term consequences hidden beneath the contract. Before signing for any vehicle, especially an electric one, look beyond the screen, the advertised range, and the monthly payment. Study depreciation history. Understand loan length. Consider the size of the down payment. Evaluate whether leasing better matches the market. Those choices determine whether ownership remains financially comfortable or slowly becomes a burden that follows long after the excitement of driving home has faded. If this perspective changes the way you think about buying your next vehicle, share your thoughts, because understanding the numbers before signing is far easier than escaping them afterward.